I have definitely experienced that a great deal in my life. My life has put me in front of a lot of groups and audiences. I've been teaching since I was in the military at 20 years of age, in a variety of different ways. I have never heard the term self-grasping, but I am familiar with one I think is akin to it. In Western psychological parlance, we talk about the spotlight effect. And it's this idea that when I'm sitting at a table with 10 people, I am imagining in some part, my ego, right, is imagining in some part that everyone there is looking at me and that everybody's like parsing out like what I'm doing and what I'm wearing, and that everybody's going to go home that night and talk about what I said or didn't say. But of course, we're all experiencing spotlight effect. So the reality is that people don't have as much energy as I imagine to be concerned with the minutia of my actions or my fashion choices or my turn of phrase. Because they're sitting there just as I am, largely very concerned with what people are thinking of them. And yes, I have found it very, very helpful to just hold that in my awareness. One way I like to visualize holding a wise contemplation like that is I like to imagine that I have poured a precious oil, like an essential oil, into the palm of my hand. And I like to think about how difficult it would be, how challenging it would be to go about my entire day and not spill a drop. Right? Like what a circus it would be to make my coffee, for example, with only one hand. Like how challenging it would be to enter my car and sit and drive and change lanes and all of that. All the while maintaining enough awareness of the oil in my palm that I never spill it. Right? Difficult, very energy requiring, but not impossible. And so similarly, when I notice that there's some wise contemplation that I want to hold, I try to hold it just like that. So I have, Kat, gone into parties, business gatherings, and poured into my hand the remembrance of the spotlight effect. And just tried to hold it the entire time. Right? And what's so wonderful about it is it has a double positive effect. Because on the one hand, of course, it calms me down, right? Because I'm being constantly reminded, right, by this holding of this wise contemplation. No, Dave, it's okay. No, Dave, you're doing just fine. No, Dave, nobody's really staring at you right now. Like, just have your sip of water. And the fact that a little bit spilled out onto your shirt, no one even noticed. All right? So it helps me that way, right? It's de-stressing. It reduces anxiety. But then it has this wonderful secondary effect as well. Because I can't hold that awareness without also recognizing, oh, everybody around me is probably carrying this same anxiety. And so it actually connects me the way the spotlight effect is kind of disconnecting, right? And it can get me very self-concerned, which can lead to selfish choices. But if I'm holding the reality that we're all in that boat, well, then compassion starts to arise because somebody's up at the board and I can see like, ooh, Bob's a little nervous right now, right? Or something technologically goes wrong during someone's presentation and I'm like, I know how nervous they feel about that and how embattled they may be later. But there I am, just sitting there holding our shared experience of this anxiety. And so it's so much easier for me to relax and just to send them compassion. Right? And let me tell you, they can feel it. They can feel it. Even if I don't say anything after, even if I don't know them well enough to give them a hug and encourage them later, right? Just the fact that I am sitting there paying loving attention to them and myself, right? As that contemplation invites me to, then we're having a whole different energetic exchange. We're having a whole different energetic exchange.